Sorry, I'm good.
Wait, are we going headphones the whole time? Oh.
No.
Okay.
Are we taking them off?
Yeah, you can talk. You can keep them on if you want to hear our
That was a
voices.
beautiful sound. Like beautiful.
I think
noise,
I look great
beautiful
in headphones, so
I feel pretty comfy.
I guess zero headphones, just because I can't hear out of my right ear really, and headphones really accentuate
really?
that for me. Yeah, it's actually kind of annoying for me.
When
I'm
did
going
you?
deaf. Oh, it's a great story. So I was working at a warehouse for Target. So I was working at a Target warehouse.
they can't fire you anymore.
Yeah,
Jay.
I've already been fired. So I was working at a Target warehouse, and they used to do like hearing tests for us, but they didn't really care. So like you could see the hearing test machine, and I never liked wearing earplugs. I was like, fuck it, I don't need earplugs. So I used to like slam pallets down all day and like work in a very loud environment. And they would be like, oh, you wearing your earplugs? I'm like, yeah, of course. And I just take them out immediately after. And when I did the hearing test, I just like look at the machine and be like, right, because it's a little R would pop up. And it's like, yeah, right ear, left ear. So I just tricked the machine for 3 years, but my hearing's progressively getting worse because I was like in my 20s.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what you do in your 20s. You just fuck yourself over for your 30s.
There was a test, and you just switch either side of the.
So it was like a little.
Yeah,
test.
they have a machine, and they.
They like make little
Did they have
progressively.
the old weird headphones?
Oh,
with
wait.
Yeah.
a blue
Like,
cord
it
or
clamp
something.
down on your
and then-
head.
yeah.
So you just had a both on one side?
No, I'd wear it, but like I could see the machine as if the test was running. So like
Okay.
I would see like a little thing pop up telling me which ear, like for the person who's supposed to be testing you. They didn't turn it away from me. Like,
Oh, so they just did a bad job.
Yeah, they did a terrible job of checking. They didn't care if you could hear or not. Target's not gonna pay for my hearing.
I
mean,
would say that they did that on
they're
purpose
not.
because if their employees are losing their hearing, then they have to do something about it.
I would hope no, they're not gonna do anything about it. They're not gonna do anything.
It's like,
about
here,
it.
cheat on the test. Go ahead.
I think you know what the sad part is it took me a second to realize what you were saying, and I was like, damn it, I think he's right. I think he's 100% right. Like, fuck, I shouldn't have been cheating. You're right. I should have just been like, I can't hear. You guys have fucked my
The
hearing.
only drug test you should cheat on for the only test you should cheat on for work is a drug test.
Yeah.
Or all of them. Do all of them. But that one could have been some good data. Do you have all your hearing, all your cilia on your eardrums?
I don't take off hearing tests that often,
Oh.
so
You
but
should work at
I
Target.
Do you
I
ever
do
like,
have that. I do have that like when the sound. Yeah, when you know you're losing your hearing a little bit.
That's you'll never hear that sound again.
When it hits that frequency.
Yeah, that's the
then...
last time you'll hear that sound. That's what I heard.
I hear it all the time at night, in the daytime. Right now, I hear it right now. It's great.
They're apparently making it. They've developed some sort of stem cell thing where they can reproduce cilia on your eardrums, and I'm very excited about that.
I'd be into that.
I wanted to thank all you for coming, just
Oh, yeah.
as a more official. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. That's.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm sweaty and I hate it right now. I'm not happy with how
It's
sweaty
warm.
I am.
Well, I got you a
It's
cold
warm.
beverage. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's helping. That is helping. It's
the
replenishing
most I can do.
all the LaCroix that was in my body.
Put it on your face, like on your
I
forehead.
honestly wish I could sweat LaCroix.
Yeah, if you do this,
Tasty.
if you
It's
just
really
hold it up to
good.
the middle of your
I would just
forehead.
smell like grapefruit all the
I
time.
feel like if you had, yeah, but would it be bubbly sweat?
I hope so.
Oh my God, yes. Like, can you imagine if you were bubbling?
Your sweat
Literally
is
bubbling? How effervescent you would be?
No, my makeup would never stay on.
Yeah, you'd have like little holes too from the bubbles.
Although I'll say this, I would like it if my cum was bubbly.
Ooh.
Oh.
No, because I feel like that's unfair to the other person.
It's like,
Someone's
No, but
gonna
it would
get-
feel cool.
It would feel cool
like
coming out,
when
but
you
then-
make out with pop rocks.
Ooh, no. I was always afraid I was gonna die from Pop Rocks. Like I still am a little afraid of them. Like someone told me like a kid burst his stomach, which I know didn't happen now. But someone told me a kid burst his stomach with Pop Rocks and a Coke when I was a kid. I think we all heard that. But like
Yeah.
I was the only kid who was like, what?
You're
And then
concerned.
I like had one pop. Like someone's like, you want a pop? Like, give me one. I would have one Pop Rock, and then I'm like, I'm not fucking. I don't want my stomach to burst.
just one crackle.
I
in
was
your
very
mouth.
risk averse as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Pop Rocks. I haven't had those in so long.
You should have one with a Coke. Like, just help me
I've
alleviate
done
my
it.
fear. I need you to be
The thing
Have
is,
you done it?
Yeah, it built up in your stomach, and then all this bubbly soda, it just comes up your esophagus.
Oh, so it's like
You have a hole in your stomach from which gas can escape. There's no way that it's going to build up enough that your stomach explodes. It's
you're
just
saying
not a thing that
science
happens.
things to me, but what I need you to do is
It
just,
can be uncomfortable.
I just
I'm
need
saying
you to-
everybody go out right now.
I just need
buy
you to
some
do
Pop
it
Rocks
for
and a
me.
Coke. I'll do it
yeah.
right now.
I will fund this research. There we go. Jobs
I wonder
being
if they're
made.
gluten free. Can we Google that?
Wait,
Pop Rocks?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
It's
they
probably
are.
They
just
are.
sugar.
It's just
It's
sugar
just
and sodium
crystallized.
How wild would it
bicarbonate.
be if
And
Pop
color
Rocks had
number
gluten in
red.
them? If it
I
was
can
just
look it
like
up on my phone if you want.
just this very carb heavy candy. It's like, yeah, we start with bread. That's the pop.
No, it's probably
There's so much rye. in
probably
this.
gluten free because I remember when I was in
There's milk in them.
Ew.
Really?
Yeah, lactose, milk sugar. That's what it says.
I can't have them.
Yeah, I'm lactose intolerant,
I
so
can't
now I
have
can't. I
dairy
mean, it
or
really would
gluten.
destroy my stomach. Like literally.
You'd have to take a lactate pill.
Go ahead a minute. I gotta have a lactate before I eat my Pop Rocks. Oh my god. 30s.
I used to I don't know if you guys remember, it was a very dark part of the internet back when the internet was a little
Fun.
Sketch.
Rotten.com.
No, it was like there was this section of the internet that was like pro anorexia.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
probably still a section of the internet.
No, a lot of places
Oh.
banned that specific hashtag. It was really bad,
Ugh.
but they would give each other tips on like how to
Oh,
Stop,
yeah.
not eat,
not eat, how to hide not eating from your parents,
including like chewing and just spitting out food. is kind of- yeah.
But
Like,
one of
let's
them
not
was
actually give
always
tips, though.
eating candy.
Oh.
And candy that
Sounds
was
like my
interesting for your mouth, like Pop Rocks was one of those things. Because,
oral
like,
fixation.
yeah.
It's like, oh, it kind of feels like I'm chewing, but it's,
It hurts so much.
yeah.
Yeah, they would have they were really good with puns. You know, it'd be like thinspiration, and then it was just like a picture of a skeleton.
It's like a meme. It's like a meme.
It was a meme. It was memes before memes were
What did
named memes.
What did we used to call them before memes?
Memes.
Memes.
Thumbnails? I don't know.
Oh, thumbnails. Ugh. Is it a GIF or
Stolen
GIF?
jokes.
I think the guy who invented it said it's GIF.
I disagree.
Yeah, so do I. And it doesn't matter. It's like usage.
That's his
Usage
gift to
trumps
the world.
all.
Yeah, that's true. God, that's very true, actually. Like, whatever we decide to call it is what it is, basically.
That's why it's weird when anyone gets like mad at new words being put in the dictionary. I remember like people were really upset when they put bootylicious in the dictionary.
Oh.
They're like, that's not a real word. And, like nothing was a
You
real
tilt it
word.
towards your mouth a little more, just the front, yeah, and then a
This.
little bit towards your left shoulder. No, like this.
Can you-
Well, I'm getting very specific. This is my power control. Like,
Put it
Nice.
like
I'm
like
like,
you're
do I
gonna
need to be-
suck a dick.
Do I need to be closer?
That angle.
no,
Finish
you're
this
fine. I
job.
I'm
think.
very loud.
Generally.
Yeah, V is the loudest.
V is so
I'm
loud.
pretty quiet.
It's honestly like amazing and impressive every time.
That's why I'm
like,
wearing
how are you
headphones
this-
so I can't hear
How are you
myself.
so much louder than me? How do you do this every time?
Can I just gently whisper this podcast?
Yeah, I got 4 tracks plus the intro track, so
Nice.
I can I'll mix it in a week, and
Of course, you have 4 tracks. You have 4 microphones. You've got these little hooks on the wall.
Oh
You're
my
very
God.
That's where we
prepared.
Hooks,
hang
yeah.
our LaCroix.
Seriously, this is like the lighting was what threw me off. I was expecting this to be shit lighting wise, and I don't mean anything rude to you.
no, yeah.
But typically, like when I walk into places with lighting, I'm like, well, this is all shit. And then I walked in, I was like, well, this is all really well done shit.
It could be,
Like, This is really
yeah.
well done. Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, it's middle class lighting, which is high.
Yeah.
high class.
Well, actually, not on this side, but on your side, that's what they call bisexual lighting.
Ooh.
Blue on one side and pink on the other.
Oh.
It's on
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia.
Perfect.
Google
It
it.
is now, actually.
I feel really great being over here. Guys.
Well, Jay's the only one with bisexual lighting. You've got green on this side.
Ah,
of you,
shit.
So yeah,
Oh.
sorry. I don't know what
Well,
that's called.
Just a bisexual leprechaun or something.
I haven't looked at the flags recently. I don't know what they all are anymore.
I just saw Megan perform last Thursday, and I don't think I had remembered the mother song. The song about your grandmother or grandfather that died in a car.
Yeah,
that's great. Wait, was that at Nate Jackson's?
No, it was at Town Pub in Belltown.
Oh yeah.
How is that, by the way?
You know, the stepping stool to the stage,
it breaks every time you step on it.
It's broken. They need a new stepping stool.
Ooh,
so don't.
Somebody's gonna get a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna break every stage I stand on. Like the stage at Tony V's, I'm always like, I can't do any jokes about.
It's on the big stage now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because like last time I was there, I was like, I can't do any like physical. I need to just stand in one spot that feels very stable, because otherwise I will go straight through. That's my fear of every stage, actually.
They just put the smaller stage on the big stage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. I like that.
I was there yesterday. It was a lot of fun.
Wait, there were two stages? I didn't notice.
Yeah, there was a very rinky-dink, very like not
the
put
thing
together
that was
stage.
behind us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we weren't actually standing.
It was on the side.
You mean that cluster of pallets?
That is what it was. It was a cluster of pallets.
Were
Yeah,
they
also-
painted?
There was like a rug on top, I think.
Oh.
It was
also
pretty cushy.
I will say the stage was decent. The lighting was okay if you're light skinned.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something I see a lot. Like where was what's that metal bar where we always used to do shows that I've definitely done shows at across you know the one.
Is it Chop Suey?
Not Chop Suey.
Anyway, I don't know
I'm blanking because I can't remember anything after the past year and a half.
Knock.
They had great. They had a lot of metal bands, and that's what my theory is. Like most metal bands are very pale, so that their lighting was only good for pale people.
And they're all Norwegian.
Yeah, it was just like they were just used to lighting that. So when they actually did have shows with like anybody else, the whole thing was problematic. Like as a photographer, I was just like, come on.
It's always fun. It's always fun. You're like, oh, cool. So it's dark in here. It's really dark. You can see my eyes, and I don't like how that feels.
Yeah, I think that a lot of comedians don't think about stagecraft as far as like when they're producing shows, like what your stage looks like, what it's going to look like when you take pictures.
Okay.
You know, one of my complaints, and definitely my only complaints about this club, but laughs.
Sorry.
Their sign behind
the stage in the corner
is shiny.
It needs a matte finish.
It needs a matte finish because as a photographer, you're spending more time trying to figure out how to get that spot, that gleaming spot of light off of the sign than you are getting a good picture.
You probably don't even go there to take photos. But
I don't go there anymore for a number of reasons.
Right. But, well, if anybody cares, tell Angela, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no. Angela, she can keep having her garbage club. I don't care.
Sure.
Go ahead and have a spotlight on your...
Weird, though, that, because it makes it difficult to, photograph that sign, and you would think that they would want the sign in the photograph.
Yes.
You want the sign so why would you make it?
There's a lot of things that they do that I think are working against them, but, people have tried.
Well, that's one of them. It's like the stepping stool at Town Pub.
I'm really worried about the stool now.
Nobody uses it. I thought to use it, but it's like one of those bathroom.
I did the first time.
It's like a plastic that just caves in. It's
broke.
I think it's funny when you see and this isn't just them, but you see a lot of clubs, particularly comedy clubs, though, because I think they just always have this idea that they know how to do things right, and usually the way that they think is right is either old news or nobody does that. So people will give them suggestions and they'll be like, I know what I'm doing, and then they'll get mad because every comedian isn't bringing 6 friends with them. Well, if you would get a social media manager and have somebody actually advertise for you, or if you would do this, or if you would do this, then your club would be more successful. And that's not me saying that as just a critic. That's me saying that as somebody who's like,
you care about performing.
Yeah,
I care about the performers, and I want them to have, I've given up on that place because I just don't think that they'll listen.
Yeah, that place is just like a rock,
Yeah,
like it's minimal
Wait, are
description.
you saying a rock or a rock? Like which
No.
which one are we saying? I was like, it's like the Middle East? Is it?
No, it's just
it
like a solid.
mismanaged?
It's a stone. It's just
sinking to the bottom.
It's just sitting
of
somewhere.
the ocean, slowly.
Yeah.
And some people
And the
are still
ocean
trying to
is
grab for
not
it.
funny. No.
And you can't wear shorts in the ocean.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
That was such a in the sad part about that was such like a contentious thing that I never went. I never performed for that club just because I was starting out and I was talking. I don't remember who it was, but I was talking to some comedian. They're like, yeah, if you go to Labs, you can't wear shorts. I don't even wear shorts, and that was just immediate like, the fuck, like why?
I saw
wear shorts?
Dave lean into Bobby Higley about you know. I'll paraphrase and just say, who do you think you are? Like, or is that kind of what Dave said?
I feel like dress code is also kind of like cutting into someone's artistic license. So much of like what you are on stage is part of like, how you dress.
Sure,
if you've been wearing shorts at all the clubs around town,
right?
And then suddenly I walk into Labs and you're like, well, you can't be in character.
Well, the
it's
thing
like,
is,
well,
they let me on stage with shorts, and then I did a set about being trans, and they were like, wait a second. Now
you're a man.
we got to talk about your shorts. Now we got to talk about your shorts. I think my main thing is that I went to that club. I worked at that club. I did one open mic, and then I was a photographer there one night for we recorded our sets, and I was thrown off because I wasn't getting paid that much. I was getting paid like $110, $120 to like photograph like 13 comedians. It's not a lot of money. And Dave basically bullied his way into, he tried to jump the line of all the other comedians so he could get his headshot. And when I told him like, hey, I'm kind of busy, maybe we could do this afterwards, I have to take 13 different comedians' headshots in the next 30 minutes. So maybe you could wait till later. And then of course he had Angela come up and be like, oh, hi, so I know he's so difficult, but honestly he just hasn't had headshots in so long. It's been like 20 years. Well, whose fault is that? You run a comedy club. Like, you could clearly spend money on Hawaiian shirts, but you can't spend money on a photo shoot.
Also, if you've been waiting for 20 years, you can wait like 20 more minutes. You can wait 20 more minutes. It's been 20 years. Well, he'll get 20 more minutes. He'll be okay.
I mean, the thing that I definitely, got yelled at by him. But like, even before I got yelled at by Dave, he threw off this like big trick energy. And like, as somebody who is in the sex industry, I've dealt with enough men like that, like on a daily basis. So why am I going to hang out with somebody that's that entitled and that demanding when I'm not even getting paid? If I hung out around them for like multiple, they're not going to pay me unless I'm a headliner.
Were they paying you for the headshot?
They didn't pay me. No, the person who produced it.
Okay, well then they should talk to the producer instead of you.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's some sensible. There's something sensible there, yeah.
Unless somehow, like, it's because it's his club. It's like, well, is Dave on the show? Like,
right.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it.
I never actually gave him his headshots. I just used them as collateral to get on the open mic the next time I went there. And then we got into a big fight.
Oh, that's kind of smart.
Yeah, I know. I'm a smart guy.
Yeah. And I gotta start figuring out how to get collateral so I can get on open mics.
You can get on my open mic.
Oh, wait, do I have to like do photography first?
No.
Yay, because I
Where
suck
is
at
your
photography.
open
I'm
mic?
so bad.
It's gonna be at Tapster every Tuesday night.
Where's Tapster?
It's in South Lake Union. It's a new bar.
Okay.
And it's
got
be
like
great.
Polished steel in there or something.
Yes. No, it has swings. It's a self-serve bar. You pour your own beers, and
what, do you just rent a mug or something, or
you
a
get
pint
a glass and then you pour it.
Is it monitored now that
I like how you and me are like, how do they monetize that? Like everyone's like, oh, what beers they have? He's like, how are they making money? Is it like Pinkberry though? I actually do want to know.
It's
is it
magic.
like, do they weigh my glass every time or?
No, I'm not sure.
Maybe it's an Amazon thing where they're just like watching you with like 37 cameras.
It's in the Google building, so probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter truly. I don't drink, so it wouldn't.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm just more curious about
They have
this conversation.
non-alcoholic beverages as well.
Oh,
so
I'm a big fan of
Do
those.
they have cocktails too?
I'm not sure.
Because then they'd have mocktails, maybe. Now,
Wait.
like, who wants to pay $12 for some bitter, or the bitters has a little bit of alcohol. I just read on the thing, but like, like I want some egg whites on my juice, please.
Yes.
I'm gonna pinky that both of them and my pinky toes. That's not my joke, but
Yeah, it's good.
So that's exciting. When's that starting?
The second week of June, the second Tuesday, whatever day that is.
Do you know the address to the place, or it's just called Taps?
It's called Tapster.
Oh, Tapster.
And the open mic is called Tap Queens.
Oh,
nice.
And I'm hoping, it's going to be a safe place for LGBTQ and POC and everyone. I want it to be a safe place for everyone, and it's gonna be great too. I don't know.
Is there gonna be discretion? Like, not discretion. I'm just saying, when I signed up for Town Pub, they were like, "Hey, please don't do a lot of suicide jokes. This is a bar, like."
Oh, really?
There was like a little.
Oh no,
they were like,
"Wait, have you never had anyone?" I get told not to do suicide stuff a lot. Like, I don't know if I have a lot of suicide jokes, but I get told not to tell jokes about suicide. Like, to the point where I've backburnered a lot of the suicide stuff I had.
Interesting.
Because like I've had festivals ask me not to do it. Part of it's my fault. It's on one of my like festival. Well, it was one of my festival reels. So like one of the reels I sent out to like festivals did have a joke about me committing suicide when I moved there. Well, my watch committing suicide when I moved here. And so like
your wife? Okay.
My watch, no. No, my wife is not funny. My watch is hilarious.
Suicide watch?
Yeah.
Oh, your watch. I think I
my
remember
watch.
this.
Yeah, the suicide watch. So that joke is
okay.
Yeah, that joke is
Layers.
fun. But I've been told not to do it enough to the point where I kind of don't anymore. Also, it's a very suicide joke. It's a very Seattle joke. It's like, I feel like unless you're here, it doesn't work. I know, because I've tried it other places and people didn't get it. But yeah, I don't know.
Because everyone here has a severe lack of vitamin D.
Yeah, everyone here's like, well, it didn't see sun and it killed itself. We get it. But everyone else is like, so you were just in Seattle for 2 months and...
Suicide material is difficult, but I feel like, I don't know, especially at an open mic, I want to see people trying that stuff. I feel like telling people to... It's one thing if people are like, we don't want you making light of mental illness, but if you're somebody who's experienced it, why not?
Yeah. The fine print was like, be funny if you do it or whatever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we won't ask you back. And I was like, oh, this is my first time here, and I don't want to not be asked back. So
I don't dislike that wholly as a principle, because I feel like those types of jokes are a higher level of difficulty, and if I were just starting out, I'd be more likely to not try it if I saw that until like I felt more comfortable. And I think to an extent, because there is so much, like even if you've experienced that yourself, it's really difficult to know where the line is or what's too far, and trying to like figure it out. Like, you need an open mic to do that, but you also kind of have to have a little bit of a sensibility for yourself and trying to like find the joke and making sure that we're not going too far. Even with the black stuff, like I'm sorry, the way I said that. Sorry, the way I said it made me laugh. But even with like stuff for me, and if you've seen me like, well, a lot of other black comedians know I do this. After I do stuff that's like a little dicey, I go to them like, so like, I mean, like, how bad was that? Like am I gonna get kicked out of the black race for this? Like, what do I have to do? Like how
You're
bad
just
is
very
it?
Self-conscious of that.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about it, and I think some of it is just because like even with something that I've lived my entire life, I've never been able to experience anything else. I still sometimes am worried like, oh, this might be maybe I shouldn't tell jokes about Martin Luther King Jr. getting shot. Maybe that's the line. Like, maybe that's the line. I'm just always a little like,
have you ever got feedback from the people you've asked and they've
like
said
negative feedback?
What?
Negative feedback?
Yeah, have you have you gotten negative feedback?
I got negative feedback from one person, but I didn't take their opinion as quality.
Yeah.
But it's a long story, but I'm going to start it and end it with no, I'm going to start and end the story with like generational differences is what I'll say. So it's someone who was I would say closer to, so like I was not alive when like the summer marches happened. This other comedian was.
Okay.
Not very old, but was old enough to be like, you know, a little bit more reverent. And I'm a little less reverent because it's like I wasn't here. I just read about it and I talked to people about it. And I was like, all right, cool. But I respect it, but not to the point where I won't joke about it. And I think that was where we.
Yeah. You took it and then decided to make your decision.
I mean, I didn't take it. I just.
Oh, okay. Well, you listened.
Took it in your hand.
I heard
it. You heard it. Yeah.
I heard him, and I was just like, I don't know if I trust you, but truly, it was just. It was criticism that didn't have any real founding. It was just more like, you can't talk about this type of stuff in front of white people, and it's like, yes, I can. And then I was fine. I think it was, if there had been more like you're doing, like if he had been able to illustrate how I'm damaging the race, or he was like, I don't know why I said Taquan, but Taquan, he's back in jail now because of your jokes. All right, well now I feel like I have to like really think about like, I led someone astray with what I said. I don't think that's the case. And so because there's no like solid evidence for why, other than just I have more respect for these people than you do. And then it's like, well, yes, you respect MLK and I respect him too, but he also cheated on his wife. Like they're both true. Like he was a great person who did great things who also cheated on his wife multiple times. A lot. Coretta put up with it and forgave him. I feel like we can too, but also I bet if you ask Coretta, she'd be like, oh yeah, he cheated. She would still talk about it. So why can't we? Like it's taking the person as a whole, and you can joke about it, but it's
people contain multitudes.
Yeah.
I learned something new.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know.
Oh, he for real cheated on his wife. He was not. He was not faithful. It's.
I like him even more. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Well, I know.
He really believed in freedom.
When you did your grandfather joke, your grandfather dying joke, somebody walked out.
Yeah.
So was that from the joke, you think, or you think she just had to go?
Maybe that's how her dad or grandpa died too. So you never know. It could have struck a chord.
Because of what?
This is my song.
Oh, the last thing you said. Yeah.
Could have struck a chord.
Oh, you didn't strike it. You struck a wrong chord.
I struck the wrong chord in her heart.
I don't know if I've ever had somebody walk out on one of my jokes. At least not that I know of.
I mean, it's a lot. The song, it's pretty gross and it's pretty gnarly. So yeah. I wouldn't, if anybody wanted to leave or throw up or just like call their grandpa real quick.
I just want to say,
like, I would never leave you in a hot car, Pop.
I just want to say, I understand now what you were saying when I went into Walmart that one time. No, but the thing that's weird to me about that is that it's not their grandpa, it's yours. So like you're the one singing the song, is your grandfather. If you feel this way about it, who am I to be like, well, you can't do that. Like I don't have a close relationship to you or to your grandfather than you do. So if this is what you want to do, great. I feel comfortable laughing at it.
And how do people always assume that they're like, oh, this person in my family died? Like, how do they know you're not happy about it? Like,
Solid point.
My grandpa was an asshole. His name was Bert. It's the same sound a fart makes. Who names their child after a fart?
I tried to do a joke about my grandmother dying because she was God, my mom might see this. She was a terrible person. I don't care. She was not great. My grandmother was not awesome. I found out when I got older, but like there's a lot of stuff in there. Like my grandfather cheated on her a bunch. He was not great. So there was a lot of stuff, a lot of reasons why she was very bitter. She had 5 kids. There's a lot of reasons to be bitter, but she was a really, really terrible person. And I tried, like when she died, I legit tried to do a joke about her dying, and it just the most painful part about the joke was that it sank. It was just like it bombed. Like people were just like, "Oh, your grandmother," and I never tried it again. But like after hearing your song, I was like, man, I wish I had thought to do music because maybe then it would work. It's like maybe it would have worked, and I think it's kind of brilliant to be able to like say like take something like this that is clearly traumatic and still be able to like embrace it, like make fun of it. You wrote an entire song about it, which is amazing, by the way. It's really one of my favorite jokes of yours, by the way. Every time, and I've heard it multiple times, and every time I'm like it still gets me every time.
I sing
so
it to
good.
myself in the shower.
It's so good.
I like it when people tell me it gets stuck in their head.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's really amazing.
I think that's the thing that's, over the pandemic, when people ask me like, oh, who are your favorite comedians? And it's changed a little bit because now I think back like, whose jokes do I actually remember versus like people that, like, there are certain people that I like and then are like cool people, but like their stuff doesn't stick with me. Like I don't remember it.
I really thought you were going to start naming names. I was like, what? You're like, and like, just for a second, I was like,
is it me?
Is she naming?
Do you remember me?
Is he naming names? Like, what's happening? What's happening?
I mean, I am not afraid to name names, but
I'm a little afraid that you might.
Yeah, I generally find one thing I never do, if I tell you that you've had a good set, I'm never lying to you. So don't ask me.
I'm not a fucking liar.
I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. Some people, I've noticed people be like, oh, they'll come up to each other and be like, good set, hey, you too. And I feel like if you tell people that they did good when they didn't, then they're just going to keep doing bad. And I don't want to.
I'm generous with that, but I'm not a liar is what I'll say. So like if you genuinely had a good set, I will tell you that. But if you did have a bad set, I usually will be like, that one joke. And if I single out a joke, and it's not saying that you had a bad set, but if I tell you like, oh, this joke was great, awesome.
Or
if I say
like
nothing
where you're
to you,
going with this premise.
No, if that comes, I don't have anything for that. It's just like, well, that was the set. And then we just have to move forward. But yeah, I try not to lie to people about that. Though I don't know. I am very generous with it now that I think about it. I'm not generous with great set though. Like, no, good set, I'll tell people that. But like, if you get great set, it's like, okay.
A lot of the time I just say like, good job and a fist bump.
I like that.
We're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, getting on stage is scary. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, you might not have done well, but we've all bombed, and like, tonight's just not your night. Like,
what's your worst bomb?
That's so bad.
My worst bomb?
Yeah.
My worst bomb was in Louisiana.
Oh no.
It was in New Orleans. It was New Orleans.
Okay. That's a little better.
I was in New Orleans and I went to a bar. It was great. It had like an actual like theater looking stage with like curtains and shit in the bar on the end. And there was a green room where people were smoking weed. It was awesome.
Oh, dope.
I loved it. And I went to get to the stage.
Green room when they were smoking weed. I just got that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
There was
That's why it's green.
You had to go up some steps and go around to get to the stage. So I went on stage, and New Orleans is a really difficult place to do comedy because every crowd is different every single time. Like in Seattle, you have a general, like, there's a lot of people who frequent certain shows, but New Orleans, like, at any given time, there's a million extra people who don't live there, and they're from all over the world.
On the wall behind the curtain, you can reach. Yeah.
So you've got like, you just never know what you're going to get in a crowd, and so that in and of itself is intimidating. And then when they're just not laughing, then it just gets progressively worse. And I don't remember what I did that night or anything. All I remember is I got off the stage. And I walked immediately from the stage out of the bar back to the house I was staying, and then got on a plane the next morning without my credit card.
Oh, no.
I did so badly that I didn't even close out. I was
keep
just
the card.
Like,
Really?
see ya. It was bad. And you had to walk off the stage, and you had to walk past the entire audience on your way out.
No. Oh, that's brutal.
It was awful. There wasn't a back door. I didn't say goodbye to anybody. But they were pretty chill. I loved doing comedy in New Orleans. I've really enjoyed the South when I've done comedy there. Houston was good. New Orleans was good. I've been hearing, since I'm going to be spending a lot more time down there, is that Dallas and Fort Worth are garbage. As far as comedy scenes, and then Austin has been kind of infiltrated by like the bro Roganites.
Hooray.
So
that's what Austin. Wow, that's a weird vibe for Austin.
Yeah. They a bunch of people like moved there, and so now that's a thing. I don't know. There was a drag queen tweeting about how she had to like give him the business because he came into a queer space and decided to spout his mouth off.
Brogan?
Yeah, but he's like 5'4", so I'm sure she was towering over him in her heels. Just like, excuse me?
I'm taller than Joe Rogan.
Oh, you're definitely taller than
Nice.
Joe Rogan.
And prettier.
You got hair.
And I have hair.
A lot of superlatives. You're just beating Joe Rogan all up and down the block.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting because like I don't know, when I did comedy in Houston, it just seems like they didn't understand like what was like. They're like, are you like a lesbian or like we don't know what's going on with you, but we like you, keep going. Like
Also solid
that's
Southern
friendly.
accent.
thank you, I lived there for
Very
a while.
nice. I'm a big fan. I like that one. That was a very like I want to say Texas accent. It was like mwah, like
Thank
perfect.
you.
So good.
I like barbecue.
Some people overdo it, but that was just like just
no, you
nuanced
really
enough.
can't overdo it. The thing is, I'm actually still trying to isolate the Florida accent because that's the accent that I have. That doesn't always come out, but it sometimes does. And I realize because people are like, oh, well, do a Florida accent. And I'm like, I can't. I don't know how to do that for you. But I found that you replace the word ed like with the letters it, so that's part of the Florida accent. Like instead of saying 100, you'll say 100.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know.
Skipped rope. Oh, that's
skipped rope.
Oh wait.
Oh, skip it.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm trying to think of like a double consonant ed word. But that doesn't really.
Yeah.
They probably say skipped or so. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a much more subtle Southern accent, and it's also like, I don't know.
I was gonna say
like dirtier.
Yeah, I didn't want to be insulting, but I was gonna say trashier.
It's yeah. No, it's
No
absolutely trashier. It's
Yeah, no
absolutely
offense, but
trashier.
yeah.
And I've got that, and then I've also got like a Boston accent, and then I was born in upstate New York, so I've got just three of the most trashy accents.
No, upstate New York's very classy. It's
Oh, when people go like this, hi Bob.
it's cute.
You gonna go over to Rochester and get a garbage plate?
Garbage plate.
Wait, I want to hear more bombs. What was your worst bomb, Robbie?
Well, I did a double dip one night, and I drank at the first mic, and then the second mic. As I was getting on stage, somebody was like, "Oh no."
That's not a good sign.
Infamous.
I like that
was
someone.
pretty bad.
Did they say "oh no" because they saw you, or did they say "oh
Yes.
no" because they saw the abacus?
No, they saw me. This was like,
Also, had they seen you like previously that night and just happened to be okay? That would be
No.
hilarious. They're like, "Oh, I saw the last time. No, thank you." So like, oh no, and then I guess you just.
yeah, I did some. It was in my first year of comedy, and
okay.
it was probably
Well,
like half a year
that's-
in. Okay, so that
yeah,
doesn't count.
that's well, no, it counts. I mean, every bomb counts, but I mean that's like expected. Like if you're in your first year and you're walking up, you hear someone say, "Oh no," like you're fucked. Like,
Like,
you're not.
I could
You're
almost
not gonna be funny.
I could almost. I could almost not see. I think I was like that drunk, where it's like a little blurry. It was like I think I learned not to drink, and it helped that, and like probably later when I slept in my car after doing like another double dip. Like,
Yeah.
when I have 3.5 IPAs, and it's a half because I spill it, and then and then I'm giving out like magnets I made, and I leave them at Rancho Bravo, and anyways, and then I'm like, I'm gonna sleep in my car.
Learning that you're not funnier when you're drinking is, I think, the key to comedy.
Yeah.
I've also stopped doing it mainly because I'm really vain, and since I've been on testosterone, my entire face gets red. Like I've had an allergic reaction, or like I put blush in all the wrong places, and I want to look good. So,
but you like lean into it and do like a lot of drunk material. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just be like, I'm so sloshed. You could just lean into it, I feel.
Yeah, but I already talk slow enough on stage.
Right. Lean into it. Just be like, blah. All of your jokes take like 20 minutes to tell. Did you hear the one about the wagon? And then you just keep that pacing.
I got to be careful. I don't want people to think that I relapsed.
Same.
I want to ask you about your worst bomb, but I feel like you never bombed. I honestly feel like you have never hit at that point. I truly do.
Honestly, like you brought up like the town pub, like that was the last time I saw you. You were on the balcony, so I didn't get to like say hey.
Yeah.
But like nobody was laughing, so it felt like I bombed.
You leaned into it and
so
you succeeded.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like I gave up or anything.
We said a bomb, not a successful
not a triumphant
rescuing of the room from.
I was triumphantly successful. They didn't laugh at my first joke, but every joke after that, I crushed it. That's what I expected, honestly.
It was also a light. It was a light night.
Yeah, like
so. What I've heard,
there were like 5 people who were right in front who were really into the comedy. There was like that one guy with the hat, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, yeah."
Yeah. I was like, thanks. I like you.
I just talk to those people. Honestly, that's what I do, and I feel like I'm bombing, is especially if there's another trans person in the crowd, or at least a visibly trans person. Sometimes you're like wondering if you're up there. I'm like, how many eggs am I gonna crack?
But I have bombed. But you know, my first year of comedy, everybody's first year of comedy, you're not good. But when you I've been studying joke writing and doing it on my own since I was probably 19, 20. But I didn't start doing it until my child. I was a young mom. I was 21 when I gave birth, and so I kind of waited till my child was older because I didn't want to leave the house.
Right.
When you're a new parent and your child is young, you just kind of stay home. And I'm a single parent, so I've been doing comedy for 3 years, but like the first year of comedy is finding like your voice. And for me, like, I think I have a really weird voice.
You do.
I do. It's sometimes it's very different, like where I'm relaxed it's deeper, or like I am very quiet as well. And like so really like the first year of comedy is like getting used to being on stage and talking into a microphone and finding your voice. So like I did bomb, you know, my first year of comedy like a lot at like Tony V's, or like when I went to Laughs, I'd always do like a joke I knew that would work, and then like a new joke if I was working on something, and then like a joke that I knew that would work. So there's like things that you can do to make it so you don't bomb. Do jokes that you know that work. But you have to figure out how those jokes work. So like polishing your turds at open mic is really important. So also having safe places, like safe place open mics, is really important because I'm really excited to start an open mic where people can't get fucked with.
Yeah, or at least if somebody does get fucked with, there's recourse and accountability, and there's a process.
Are you gonna have like a 3-strike rule, or like I mean, not obviously you can veto anything you want. But you're gonna at least have like a 1 warning.
Yeah, probably, because I think everybody deserves a second chance.
Sure,
you're much better than me.
I mean, I guess it depends on the infraction.
We're all a little mentally funny, you know.
Yeah.
If somebody's gonna be going around and like, you know, physically assaulting people, then
there's already a list of people in my head who can't
hit.
get on the list.
Right.
Nice.
And dead serious, like this is gonna be good, I swear.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
And it'll make you a great host or producer. I mean, obviously you're not going to host every time or what. I don't know your plan, but I haven't
hosting
produced
every
a
week
show.
does make you really good.
Yeah, it does.
Like oh my God. Like when I first started, I was fortunate enough to have people actually be like, oh, you know, you're funny. You want to host. And I think it's just my personality. I'm just overly bubbly, I guess. And so I was like, yeah, and I just jumped at that, but it forced me to like get on stage. And if you're doing it every week, after like, for me, it was like after like show 2, I was like, all right, new material because I'm out, I'm tapped. So then it was like, all right, so I got to write new stuff. And it really kind of like lit a little bit of a fire under me because I was like, well, I don't want to be unfunny. I don't want to be the person who like drags the show down. You can as the host. And so I'm trying to like work new material, and it really did make me actually want to go to other mics and actually try to find new jokes so that I could actually, you know, be a good host. So I mean, it like accelerated a lot of my joke writing and like the time I was using to actually write jokes.
Yeah. I mean, it's been weird getting back to comedy since I really haven't done much of it in the past year and a half. My first set was a total bomb, but there was also no audience. It was just other comedians, and half of them are people I don't fucking like. So it's, of course I'm not gonna get a laugh, like but I've been actually pleasantly surprised with my comfort on stage. Thanks, meds. And also I take a medication that's colloquially referred to as the stage fright drug. It's awesome. I love it. I started taking it for anxiety, but now I actually start taking it like an hour before I get on stage, and it helps immensely. But like, when I first got on stage too is also different because basically the entire time we've been quarantined, I've been taking hormones. So I got on stage and picked up the microphone. And hearing yourself, like I hear myself played back when I do my podcast, but like it's different when it's live.
Yeah.
By the way, I feel like you should announce your pronouns for the audience.
Oh, should I?
I don't. I thought maybe we should.
Should we all make an announcement?
Yeah. I thought.
Do you typically do that on a show? It's just
I thought
a special thing.
Well, I thought
just
it.
For me,
I almost thought like maybe
my voice sounds too womanly for people.
No, I
to
just feel like
understand.
people have a misconfusion or whatever. They're like, oh, V. I don't know what pronoun V is, and I almost
it's
thought
on my Twitter profile. Do people just not read bios?
It's on my Tinder as well. Did you not see that?
V's pronoun.
No, I feel like if people want to find out my pronouns, they can go and find them out. I feel like we don't necessarily need to do a whole thing. You guys all know my pronouns.
No, yeah.
I do think it is very interesting to me. Like, for example, we were at Nate Jackson's and this comic, who I also don't really particularly like. He's not the worst, but he's just annoying. And, you know, this is the person where I am literally up there doing jokes about being on testosterone, about being a transgender person. I am doing jokes about that all the time. That's what I've been doing for the last few years. Anyone who knows me. Like, they might not know what my pronouns are, but it doesn't take a lot of time to ask. They can be like, hey, what are your pronouns? Or they can go look on my Twitter profile, or they can go look at literally any of the comedy that I produce, and they'll know what my pronouns are. So this whole asking what my pronouns really are, I feel like is more of a low-key, like, let's talk about what you think about V's genitals kind of intro conversation. People want to talk about, oh, so what's up with that person? I don't even know what their whole deal is.
Right. I just wanted people to respect you and be aware.
I completely get that. I just feel like there are people who are willfully disrespectful, and then they make it out to be like, oh, I'm just uneducated, when they're not. Like this comic who came up behind me and Megan, slapped us both on the back, which, first of all, don't fucking touch me.
That's rude. Yeah.
And said, good job, ladies. Like, you've known me. I've known you since day one when you walked into my open mic and just assumed you were going to get a 10-minute spot. I've known you since day one. You've been coming to my mics. I announce my pronouns.
Now I want to know if I know this person.
You do.
No.
And you're going to slap my back and call me a lady?
Yeah.
Like, that to me seems like an aggressive tactic.
Oh, no, yeah, totally.
Same thing. I mean, you know, there were producers where I've gotten on stage. I got yelled at by a producer because I called him out for misgendering me explicitly. When I was his host, at, like, you hired me and now you're using the wrong pronouns. Like, and I had gotten on stage and said, hey, like, how many more dildos and binders do I have to buy? How many more jokes do I have to write? How many more times do I have to tell you? You can say, oh, it was just a mistake. Sometimes people mess up. But then when you're yelling at your co-producer in the closet afterwards, and I can hear you, and you're like, well, she's just too sensitive. Like, you're still doing it.
Right.
You're still doing it wrong. And so when people talk about me, like, when people say, like, oh, I don't even know what's up with V, or I don't even know what's up with what are the pronouns, I feel like it's a very disingenuous thing. Because if they wanted to, if they actually cared, they would say, so what are V's pronouns? They wouldn't say.
I think a lot of people don't even know, like, how to ask that. And
it's not been normalized.
You
truly.
can look at my profile.
Yeah.
It's literally on, like,
They probably don't have interest, and they probably just see you in real life.
And to V's point,
and to your point,
people have Twitter profiles.
Well, to V's point, we don't ask everyone. So, like, when you first meet someone, you don't immediately say, like, oh, so what are your pronouns? We just take assumptions. And truly, people should just quit doing that. Like, just stop assuming that you know what someone's pronouns are. Right. You should ask everyone immediately.
Personally, I would like to see people ask that question off air, and then you just use the pronouns properly throughout the show.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for.
That's all right. You know. I feel very. I think it's very. You know, people always want to tiptoe me, like, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh, people are gonna be mad at me. But I don't think that that's mostly what it is. I think that, you know, I'm a reasonable fucking human being, and as long as you're not a dick about it, I mean, I've misgendered myself. I get it. But when it is something where you know exactly who I am, and I've told you for a number of years.
I've known you like 4 or 5 years. So it's like, okay, I could have talked to you, and I could have put it on the little overlay.
I mean, you knew me before I was announcing my pronouns had changed.
Sure.
And you get it. It's the thing that bothers me is when people have known me this whole time, and they've known my pronouns this whole time, and I've announced them, and other people are using them, and they still are. It's like they're willfully ignorant.
Right, because it's just, I'm just digging into you at that point or something.
Yeah, and they're just like, you know, and I know I'm going to get more and more, you know, the more sort of androgynous my body starts to look, the more I'm going to. So I'm preparing myself for all the bullshit that comes with being a trans comedian. But, like, there'll also be things where I'll, like, have an interview with a reporter, and then the article will come out and be like, oh, V Chattie, who identifies as
it's like the first 3 sentences.
Yeah, and I'm like, the first 3 sentences are like explaining. I'm like, no, you just say my name and then you use my pronouns. Like, don't say like, or preferred pronouns. No, they're not my preferred pronouns.
Right.
Those are just my pronouns. I really wish people would stop saying preferred pronouns.
Jay Jones, black comedian. It's like, what? Like,
Jay Jones, who identifies as an African American
or a black American,
or they put it in quotation marks, like Jay Jones, who identifies as black.
Yeah. Oh my God. Quotation marks for that would be wild. That would be so wild. It's like, oh my God, what do you mean black?
Well, because white people are afraid to say black because they think it's like,
I don't understand
bad.
That.
I don't.
I started
of
saying
course you don't
black American. Is that somewhat correct?
Or my favorite is when people, like, they drop their voice like a few volumes down. They're like, black. Oh yeah, he's the black guy.
And you don't want to say black with an S on the end. That's something you don't want to say.
There's no plural.
It's fun to explain that to people with, like, English isn't their native language. They're like, I said black, so obviously multiple of them would be blacks. And you're like, no!
You're not wrong. It's like, well, you're not wrong. It's just black is the plural. Just black.
I just have a question in general about Nate Jackson's. That's his name. How is his club?
It's great.
Phenomenal. Yeah. It's a fucking party.
Very professional.
It is
dope.
Amazing. The best club experience I've had in Washington State.
Oh.
So
they asked me for a headshot for an open mic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gasp.
And then
it didn't get used anywhere.
I actually got a message this morning from Chris Zapata saying that they were talking about me last night at Nate Jackson's club, saying how much he liked me.
Awesome.
And I was messaging him back like, "Good morning. Thank you for making my day. I love you so much."
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it's really nice to go to a comedy club and have it be professional and not have the owner yell at you.
Yeah. Nate is so great.
Do they have food there too?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't eat any of it.
It's a pretty limited menu,
cheese,
but
I can't have
they've
gluten
got
or dairy.
the cookies are good.
Is there
So
a
it does
bar on the
the
side?
entire menu for you.
No,
I can't have
the
you
bar.
big.
The bar is in a
Drink
separate place
Sprite,
from the theater.
and I'm
Okay.
good.
Is it
It's both
is
the
it just
saddest thing I've ever heard.
general seating, or is it? It's not like a
So,
theater seating.
No.
There's a
Tables?
platform that's higher up. There's 2 tiers.
Oh,
but
okay. That's cool.
There's
Wait, do you
tables in the
prefer,
front and then
like
booths in the
theater
back.
seating?
I'm just curious.
Have you done a bowl before? I hate it. I don't enjoy it.
I feel like the Rendezvous Jewel Box has 3 tiers,
Yeah.
but that's not quite a bowl. Yeah,
I've done a bowl one time and I did not enjoy it. It was not fun.
Like the Paramount.
So it was in Hawaii and I was doing a theater and the thing I didn't like. Well, so the first thing is when I came in, they weren't really prepared for comedy. So they were just like, I was the first person up. They're like, "How do you want the lights?" And I was like, "Should you ask the headline?" You know what? Just cut the lights. Just cut all the lights. So they cut all the lights except for 2 spotlights, which is what I asked for, and they did it for everyone, which is a lot. But what happens is that so when you're there, you can't see a person. There's
That's
the
my
front
favorite
row.
part.
Wow.
Well, here's what's weird about it. You can see the front row and you can't see anyone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I'm there and I'm performing, and then someone sneezed, and I looked up and I just saw
The mist.
all the particles of the sneeze,
The droplets.
and I saw it hit the ground. It literally, I stopped the show. So I was like, was that a sprinkler? And people were like, ha ha ha. He said it was a sprinkler. And I was like, no,
No.
Oh my God. This was before the whole entire world would have been horrified.
It was in February. It was in February. In retrospect, very dangerous.
Although, to be fair, I was in San Francisco in March of 2020, and I ate a piece of apple off the ground that a lady
we were just wild kids.
chewed on already.
We were just kids, just being stupid.
I knew COVID was out there, but it wasn't that bad yet. I was like, well, I'm already traveling, and this hot lady
hungry.
did just spit this apple on the ground.
So.
And the danger made it sexy.
Your body told you, I trust that apple. I think.
Oh, no. I didn't trust it. The fact that I didn't trust it was part of the danger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you kind of knew your immune system, right? You're like, I can deal with this.
I'm not
Or
gonna.
you're
die
like,
from
I
that.
don't care.
I
Anything.
mean,
that's
it was. I feel like it was a fetish thing, so I don't think I was thinking.
Okay.
I was just like, yes.
Like your mind, the switch in
Sex
your mind.
positive. Let's do
Man,
it.
if you had died from an apple, oh my God.
It would
Snow
have been
White?
appropriate.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
I mean, I'm
Not
just
this
thinking
one.
original
Because
sin.
you're dead.
You know.
I guess. I feel like apples. I don't want to die from a fruit.
Oh, no.
Just because I don't want that conversation at at the funeral. It's like, oh, you hear how he died? He ate an apple. Oh, and he choked on it? No, it was a diseased apple. How do you get a disease from an apple? It's a very low risk chance. Most apples don't kill people, but this guy, he's dead now because of an apple. I don't want that in my funeral to be like, this is the 0.0000001% chance you could die. This dude is the one who got
it's
it.
better than when I broke my arm, it was because I was doing laundry. I wasn't even doing anything cool.
Right.
And I almost fell on my face, so my face
Ugh.
almost got smashed. So
Not
the
your
fact that it was
moneymaker.
my arm, I put my arm up really fast, and
That story is just. I feel it's just so it's arm breaking. It's heartbreaking.
It was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal.
That laundry room is not up to code. There is no code.
No, I actually tried to anonymously report my landlord like a few months before this because I found out you could go online and you can like, you know, if you see somebody's it's a total like hater thing to do, but like if you see somebody's like yard is messy or like think something's not up to code, then you can like narc on them. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking narc on my landlord. So I go onto the page online, and he hadn't inspected the property in so long.
Holy crap.
That it wasn't even in the internet database.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out it had been 15 years.
Nice.
Yeah. He's gonna give me so much money.
I hope so.
I can't fucking wait.
I wonder if
Two
it was still dangerous 15
two
years ago.
surgery later. That I can't
Two
see.
surgeries. Apparently, there's a calculation for pain and suffering.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I
wow.
still have to do my taxes for that year
Oh.
because the pandemic hit and I didn't do all my taxes. But I think I made $69,000.
Nice.
The ultimate sum.
It was the first year. It was the first year I ever like felt like rich and had like money, and I didn't save any of it because I was feeling so fucking flushed. And I was like, this is never gonna stop coming in. Let me just give money to all my friends, buy everyone that drinks. Oh, your tab, I'll pick it up. Oh, you have an electrical bill that needs to be paid? Sure.
But
Now here I am.
We appreciate
I've
you
heard-
using electricity though, so thank you.
I've heard that electrical bills sometimes they get waived. Like twice I've heard
I'm
that.
trying. I currently owe Seattle City Light about $3,000. I
Shit.
figured if I just like
Yeah, I don't know the magic words.
Pretty please.
Is it
I'm
really-
gonna call
I already
them.
paid it.
I'm gonna call them and I'll get the payment plan. And I figure at the worst case scenario, if I can't get a bunch of it waived, then it'll look really good for my credit.
As a person who's had his lights cut off, what? Like, are you serious? Is that a real thing? Not here. My lights.
Oh
have
no,
never been
no,
cut
just
here,
because
but...
of the pandemic.
Oh, okay. I was supposed to say like what?
They weren't shutting off lights because of the pandemic, and then they have like a repayment plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought this is something that's been happening this entire time. I just didn't get told I was black. I was like, wait a minute. Are you serious? I haven't had to pay that? Oh my God, I was gonna be so angry. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
It's a free.
Discrimination strikes again.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Money isn't real, so we'll
You
figure
keep
it
saying
out.
that.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's not real, but it also still stresses me out.
It's not real, but all those people
But
asking
it's like
for it
that
are.
thing, you know, when you like when you're walking home late at night and like you hear like some footsteps behind you and you're like, it's not real. But you still get your shank out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so big I don't really carry a shank normally. And it's mainly just because like I feel like if I have a shank on me, I'm gonna get shot by the cop. That's really why I don't care. I actually have knives. I love knives. I don't carry them because it's like
I carry an ice pick.
you're gonna have to shoot an unarmed person. You're gonna have to shoot. I mean, you're gonna. I know you will, but you're gonna have to. I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction.
When you go to like New York, like particularly like in the boroughs in like Brooklyn and stuff, you can still like buy an ice pick at a lot of places for like $4. It's pretty great.
Did
It's
they
pretty
not
great.
know about how people got murdered in the 80s? I just assumed everyone got ice picked to death in the 80s.
I mean, people are probably still. I mean, they're mostly, I think, sold as a self-defense thing.
Yeah, no one's
At
chopping
one point,
ice.
everybody had ice picks. Although I have used my ice pick to actually chop out the ice of a mini fridge one time.
Oh,
nice.
did you? I've punctured the cooling thing. I broke in a mini
I'm
fridge.
good at things, Robbie.
Yeah, I did. It was my job's mini fridge. Too.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
No harm, no foul.
Well, I had
That's
to
rough.
drop it off at the recycling place.
Yeah. I would have just let it melt outside.
Yeah, that's why I was just wondering. It's why
Well,
you just.
You know.
It's one thing if you have to put stuff back in there, but just unplug it, take it outside, let it
Open the
melt,
door.
then take it to the recycling.
Yeah,
You
and
take
hope
it
just
outside.
nobody
You leave
takes
it
it.
inside. It'll melt inside.
Nobody steals it in the parking garage.
Yeah, you can leave it inside.
But aren't you bringing it to the recycling center? So either way, it's gone.
Yeah, the boss bought a new one if I recycled it. So I could have unplugged it, put it outside, is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Probably what I would.
I didn't want to work, so I was like, I'm gonna get a screwdriver and chip away, and then I'm gonna puncture this and ruin the whole thing, you know. And lesson learned.
You got to be careful, man.
I don't like cold drinks and conveniently chilled packages. No, but I don't know. What did you keep in it?
Miscellaneous condiments and food. It was like whatever the people that worked at the.
So you had to share a mini fridge with other people.
Well, and then it caked up so much ice it stopped doing its job, and it had this, it has a smell. Mini fridges. They things expire or transpire or,
I left my mini fridge at my old job. I had one.
Oh.
I have one, but it broke. It's this big.
Oh wow.
I just didn't want to take it out of my job. Like I just left it.
It fit a whole 6-pack. It fit a whole 6-pack if you took out the little top part where it was like supposed to be the tiny freezer. But it's mostly I lived in a house with like 8 people and I needed somewhere to put my drugs where they wouldn't be taken.
My drugs always had to be cold.
Some of them do.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about drugs.
LSD, heat and light are really bad for LSD. So
I learned something.
It's like a dark room.
Yeah. It is. It will kill your LSD, and then and then we just we had one fridge for 8 people, so I'm not gonna put any of my drugs in there. And then also, I acquired from the store for free many makeup products. And I'm not ready to use them yet, but I still want to keep them fresh, so you put them in the fridge.
Oh.
And then you can open them later.
That I did.
Because makeup expires, people.
It does expire. Yeah. That's why I have a giant sty on my eye right now. It won't go away. It's been there for 6 months.
Oh. You need some antibiotics or something.
I put this hippie drops in my eyes, and that seemed to work. But then I fall asleep without doing it, and then it comes back a little bit. So it's like a constant fight where I'm like, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Is that a song?
By Paula Abdul.
I worked with somebody who was dog sitting, and the dog they were sitting watching scraped the top of their foot. This is just an antibiotic thing, and the person was like, I can't tell the owner that I'm getting this foot infection. And then they kept working long hours, and their foot was looking worse and better. Eventually it healed, but it was teetering on I don't want to go to urgent care because that's going to be more money than I spent or that I got from the dog sitting job.
Right, right.
It's kind of a lackluster story, but
no.
I love dog medicine. I've definitely taken dog Xanax.
I just couldn't stop barking.
I just always assumed that dog Xanax is just regular Xanax, right?
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's honestly
just different dosages. I would imagine.
It's annoying because
just a little rough.
I have a partner who lives in Texas, and they're Black, and no doctor has ever prescribed them
I've never
Xanax.
been prescribed it.
They've never been able to get Xanax. But the dogs get Xanax.
Yeah. No, we all are aware of that. You guys are aware of that too. Yeah. Right? I assume everyone knows. Yeah, Black people can't get opioids. We cannot.
Yeah.
My wife had surgery when we first met each other.
I mean, no, I'm saying really,
Oh, that was just interest. Yes.
Wisdom teeth. They're.
No,
I've had my wisdom teeth taken out. I didn't get.
They had.
What? You didn't get nothing.
My partner had full surgery.
No.
No.
I mean, at the office, anesthesia, and laughing gas, but afterwards.
That's fucked up.
Their spine was fractured, and they didn't get any opiates. They will not give Black people.
I get it. There's a crisis.
Hard drugs,
but it's not with Black.
Yeah, but
it's not Black
because
people.
white people got too much drugs.
That's why, because they wouldn't give them to Black people. They're we got all these extra drugs.
So then white people took their drugs and they sold them to everyone else.
Probably the Black people who need it.
Yeah, because they couldn't get another doctor.
I can't get Valium. Let me get some black market Valium. Oh, that's where black market comes from, right? No. Anyway. No, it's just I can't. I've never been prescribed an opioid in my life.
I feel you'd need to take 5 of them.
I have a giant scar on my arm. This was 35 stitches. There was nothing for this. It was really they're oh, if you feel bad, Tylenol.
Man, you should. I just want to say, Jay, you should try being white because the last few times I've been to the hospital, the first thing that you come in, they're like, hi, I'll be your anesthesiologist. How can I help your experience? And it's like a curated drug experience.
I'll be honest with you. I would love to try being white, first of all. That's a great suggestion.
We should do a Freaky Friday.
I was going to say that the only problem is so my plan has always been to get popular enough to not be black anymore in certain situations. Because they're just like, oh, no, I know who you are. I just want to jump. So it's basically like if I get pulled over by the cops, their first impression is like, oh, shit, you're Jay. I've seen you in something, and then they don't hate me anymore.
Right.
Or like I go to the hospital, it's like, oh, no, we have to take care of you. It'll be all the tabloids if we don't. And then like you can't, like the hospital where Tupac died has to feel bad because they let Tupac die. So, and because he's Tupac. If he were Tupac Shakur that no one knew, no one cared he died. But because he's Tupac, it's like, well, we got to give him the best care.
Yeah, but he still died, Jay.
But the first time he got shot, he did not. They were like, we got to save. And they tried really hard on that second one. The first time he got shot, the hospital was like, we will save lives. The second one, there's just too many bullets. 9 bullets is just too much, apparently.
That's a lot of bullets.
It's a lot. Well, it didn't kill 50 Cent, but it was a small gun. A lot of people get shot 9 times, apparently.
Yeah, but like, no, but a smaller gun isn't necessarily like better. Like there's like a 22. The thing about that's so gnarly about those bullets is that they'll go in and they'll just like ricochet off your bones instead of clean through you. That's why the mob uses 22s, because they shoot you in the head and then the bullet ricochets around inside your skull until it turns your brains into mush.
Jiminy Christmas, guy.
So the mob just walking around with Daisy rifles, just.
I saw this gun the other day. I'm trying to find a good YouTube for learning about guns because so many people have them, particularly people who like hate trans people. So I'm trying to learn more about guns in case I'm like faced with a situation. And there's this one video I saw of a guy like, he was like, I have 9 guns on me right now.
Yes.
And he's like pulls up his Tommy Bahama shirt and he's just taking out like all of these guns. Gun. And the last one was it was a 22 and it was as big as his hand.
It's a little Derringer.
I can't remember what it was called. It was called
It was
like
a Derringer.
it was like the Stinger or the
slingshot.
Yeah.
I don't remember either.
Some
but
word
it's like
like
a little
that.
tiny little, yeah.
But like I want more, like I started typing in like gay guns, gun instruction, and all I got was like there's this gun organization called like something pink.
Only one I know of is the John Brown Gun Club, and they're more black-based than gay-based.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would tell you to steer away from them because they're more black-based than gay-based. I would assume that they're like mad conservative blacks, which means they're not going to be. Like, I would hope that they'd be more open and inclusive.
I don't know what their deal is.
But I don't know enough about them to like encourage people to go to them.
Yeah, there was the Sylvia Rivera Gun Club, but they kind of stopped doing things because of the pandemic. But it's mostly just like a bunch of trans people like going out and shooting guns together.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope.
But like, I want like more gay gun tutorials where it's not just like because most of them are just like either it's a guy who like looks like an uncle, like not my uncle, just an uncle wearing a Tommy Bahama shirt, or it's like a guy who like his whole personality is like he goes to the gym and he has guns
and he always has snuff
and he's wearing a Punisher
during
shirt.
the video. He's always like always snuff during the video.
Self-described
always.
Libertarian. Yeah, and so like these guys have good information, but like I want more fags with guns. Like that's just what I want. I just want
representation.
I just want somebody to be like, this gun is effective and adorable,
and it
like,
can't be the Tiger
Well, maybe
King.
not point towards themselves. That part not so good.
I didn't.
But yes.
I pointed this
okay,
way.
I thought you were like this gun.
I have trigger control. I'm learning trigger control. See, actually, I just pointed it at Robbie. So
yeah,
God
that's
damn
okay.
it.
No one knows that.
No, they do because it's on the TV.
Oh, that's right. We all saw it. Oh,
like
we all saw my poor trigger control.
Like some fleur-de-lis, like some like design, some fashion on the gun. On the side.
Oh, those
of the
exist
gun.
They
already.
have one. They have one.
Or laser etched.
Smith & Wesson, their Model 60 comes in an engraved version, and it's like $2,000.
Can I get a penis engraved on my gun?
I mean,
they're
you
like,
can.
I've cocked it, you know.
Well, that was the thing is that I became a gun owner during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And
congrats.
Thank you. And but the thing is, I got like a semi-automatic like pistol where you have to like cock the thing back and then you can shoot, but I couldn't do it because my arm was broken. Like I just yesterday, and I did pick up smoking casually again, which is not great, but like the lung disease, I'm vaccinated. But I couldn't, my accomplishment of the week was being able to take these 2 fingers and crush the little bead in a Camel Crush, because I couldn't do that till yesterday.
Journal it, yeah.
So I definitely couldn't cock a gun.
A Camel Crush shouldn't be a goal. Like the little bead crush.
It was a goal for me.
Oh, that's your physical therapist is setting you up with some weird goals.
He hasn't even been able to see one.
Yeah, I haven't even been able to see one.
Oh no!
They set me out like a month late.
Oh.
They're like, you need to get on this physical therapy ASAP. Okay, your schedule, it's gonna be a month from now. So I've just been doing my own thing because I kind of already did it.
That explains the count. Yeah, okay, now that makes sense.
But yeah, I should have gotten a revolver. You can load those and shoot those with one hand.
You have to still do the.
Well, no, you don't.
No?
A single action you do, a double action you don't. So a double action has a long trigger pull that when you pull through, it'll actually cock and then actually fire.
Got it.
But it's a long pull, so like you will be sitting there like really squeezing.
You can do a double finger.
It's called a double. No, it's just called a double action. So
but
the
the
trigger.
See, I don't even know what this is, and I own a gun. That's how lax our gun laws are.
I don't know anything.
I don't know shit about it. I walked in and I was like, "Hey, I want one," and they're like, "Okay, go fill out that. Go to that computer." And actually, it was cool. They had you could check non-binary on the gun.
Oh, dope.
This
is in Washington.
Yeah. It was a place up in Linwood, and they were chill and they were cool. But yeah, you filled out a thing and then like you're like, I want this one, and then they're like, okay, cool, but you should probably get that one. I'm like, all right. You know more about this than I do.
You didn't have a messed up arm then, did you? Or did you?
I thought I was on the mend. I thought it was only like a month or 2 out, but then I ended up having to have the second surgery. So I thought I was going to be able to get to the range before then, but I wasn't. But yeah, like I went in, they called me a week later and they're like, you can come pick up your gun, sir. And I'm like, sick. And that's it. You don't need to like prove that you know anything about it. And then when I bought bullets, I just got those online. They delivered them to my door.
Shout out to Texas. You don't even need a permit for a handgun anymore.
What?
Well, that's the thing I have to figure out though, is driving down there. I'm like, I need to figure out which states I'm going through.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a concealed carry permit. Because you couldn't get one during the pandemic.
Okay. I know I've said this multiple times before and I didn't follow through, but catch me, because I have like the forms on a Google Drive that you need to fill out to get like, I think it's almost like 30 different states that you'll just be covered in.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, it's easy. It's actually really easy to get covered in multiple states. I have all the forms. I'll send them over to you. I have it on Google Drive. Just after this, just grab me and make sure I give it to you.
Yeah, I need to do that because getting pulled over is stressful enough.
It is. I will say this.
It's also like, I guess I should get like a special. I want to get, because there's this thing that I've been, because like.
I'm going to use the restroom.
Oh, yeah. Like Elvis and I have been discussing it because Elvis is like, I want a gun because I want to, at least if some like racists come up and try to like shoot me, stuff. I want to be able to like stand my ground, but then also if I have a gun, I might get shot by the cops. So
it's a real conundrum.
I don't.
Well, so I would say a gun case would be the best solution for this, for like driving with it in the car.
Yeah.
So like if it's in a case with bullets out, the worst thing that can happen is that the police find it in the case and they start asking questions. But the beauty of it being in a case is like I couldn't use it if I wanted to. I can't get this. You're telling me you think I can open the case, assemble the gun, put in bullets, and be like, all right, let's go. And that's the beauty of a case. So I would say like having it in a case would maybe make it a little bit safer as far as driving. The problem is once you start carrying like in public, like at some point, ideally never, but at some point you might actually have to like tell an officer like, well, I have a weapon on me. I have a permit. I have concealed carry. And it's just not an interaction that has gone well for Black people traditionally.
Right. It's I'll probably be doing more of the driving when we're going through spooky areas because at least then they'll be interfacing like through me.
Yeah.
And it's like I can pretend I'm a white woman for the trip. I'll just make sure I shave my beard.
A white woman.
A white woman.
Oh my, officer.
Oh dear. Yes.
Is that a card?
Yes, it's just me and my Italian boyfriend.
I like that it's just me doing a British accent. Just
Well, the thing is that if Elvis just puts on a mask, then he's like light-skinned enough where I could just be like, yes, he is Italian. Put a hat on, babe. Put a hat on.
He's Dominican Republican.
Well, that is a thing too, because there's like, you meet Dominicans who are like straight up just like dark, like black, and they're like, I'm not black, I'm Dominican, and I'm like okay, well,
like, you're correct, but cops don't care. Like, it's that's the difference, and that's the sad truth of being black is that the reason the one drop rule exists is because there's a wide shade of like blackness. Like, there's so many different shades of blackness, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's like white people don't care. So like, you're black, you're black, and it's like, oh no, I'm from this place. White people don't care. You're black. I'm sorry. Yeah. I want you to be other things. It's just you're just gonna be black. It's pretty much all you have. And honestly, I will say I feel for like people who are like Afro Caribbean, Afro Latinx. I feel bad for them because they get just lumped. Like, their experience is really different from ours. Even if you're legitimately, like, my wife is legitimately African American. She's first generation Gambian Nigerian, and so her experience is like a lot of our experiences are me like talking about like classic black shit, and her being like, I've never experienced that, and me being like, what? Like, we watched like The Last Dragon together. I was like, you haven't seen The Last Dragon? Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon? She's like, saying the full title doesn't help. Yeah. And so like we watched we watched that, and there's a lot of, I think, things that like I've learned just from like being with her, that there are a lot of things that are just assumed as black experience that just aren't. And even for her and where she grew up, she was in Alaska, so there wasn't a lot of other black people around. Mm-hmm. So even like just her understanding of the community, her understanding of like what it means to be black is just inherently different than what I feel and what I understand, and that's fine. The definitions vary for each person, but it was interesting for me to like find where like we just divulged. It was like, okay, so you're not. That's what? Like, that's not a thing that you know about? The Last Dragon stood out for me, by the way. So I was like, how have you not seen Barry Gordy? It's an amazing movie. We've all seen.
I saw it a long time ago.
Is it on Netflix?
Well, I think I know you've seen it. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
But like, it's just one of those things. And even like Juneteenth was a really good example of that, where she had kind of heard of it but not really. Yeah. Whereas I grew up in the South. Like, we talked about it like all the time.
Yeah, Elvis just celebrated like his first Juneteenth like this past year, and it was actually annoying because he went, and when they had the Juneteenth at the Chop, they had like white people all around the edge to like guard it, because it was only supposed to be for black people, which I think was a mistake, because when I first heard about it, I'm like, I'm not gonna say this is a mistake because I'm a white person. I'm gonna stay out of that's not my business. But I think it's a mistake to have white people deciding who's black. Yeah. Because Elvis went up wearing his mask, and he's very pale because he lives in the Northwest, and his family always makes fun of him when he goes back to Florida. And people like, they stopped him, and they didn't tell him he couldn't come in. They just said, just so you know, this is just for black folks. And he was like, bitch, I'm black. Like, get out of the way. But it made he was so, and it made me mad because he was so excited to go to Juneteenth and hang out and be with like other black people in a space where white people were not even allowed, and like celebrate his shit and like, get to know like he hasn't always really, he's mostly identified as like Latinx for a while. So like, he was really excited. It just kind of like dampened his whole day. And I was like, I was mad because I knew that shit was going to happen. Then it happened to my baby.
Well, like, for what it's worth, I think the biggest, I don't know why I started like that, but the biggest problem I feel with that is, so like, primarily white people don't quite get what a black space means to black people. And I think some of it is black people grow up with black spaces, like our entire life is there's black spaces. The barbershops are black, which by the way is fucked up. Side note, that like if you're black, you have to go to a black barbershop because white people don't know how to cut your hair.
Yeah.
And they don't learn. Like they don't have to learn. They don't like you can be like a licensed barber, and if I walk in, you'd be like, take it to a black dude, motherfucker. Like you don't have to learn it at all. But if you're a black barber, you got to cut everything.
Yeah.
Real fun. But anyway,
Wow.
so like black barbershops, black beauty salons, like those are like just traditionally like black spaces, and then kind of just extended with like Juneteenth being kind of like a family thing and with friends. Those are all just kind of black spaces. And I think the thing is that white people can exist in black spaces. You can 100% be in a black space and exist. My barbershop has white people all the time. The difference is in whether or not you let yourself alter that space. And what was happening there is that those were white people kind of altering a black space.
Yeah.
Black spaces aren't black because only black people are in them. They're black because they are spaces where black people feel safe to be black. It is so difficult to feel like you're in a place where like your blackness isn't going to get you judged or lose something for you or cut something away, where you can just be. And with a lot of other black people around, you're typically less likely to feel judged, though black people are judgmental as fuck. But like you feel less judged for being black. But the key here is that the space, you have to feel safe in the space. And you can have a black space or a safe space for black people that includes other people. It just everyone in the space has to just be cognizant of it. Same as there can be spaces that include everyone that are inclusive but are still safe. It's just cognizance of that safeness.
Well, and the same thing with, like all, Pride Month is coming up, and like Seattle's not doing a live Pride, I don't think. I think they're canceling the parade again this year, but
I don't know anything that's happening in Seattle.
There's going to be
anymore.
independent parades, I'm sure. Like
I'm sure there'll be like
micro,
independent stuff, but like the large stuff, and by the time I started going to Pride, it was so huge and just so far removed from what it originally was. It was like, oh, I'm marching, and in front of me is Comcast, and behind me is Expedia, and it's like there's more allies in the parade than there actually are like gay people, and then like it makes you feel like if you're gonna go into a space that's not yours, like, don't treat it like you're going into a zoo, like I had a woman come up to me and my friends be like, oh my God, you guys look so great. My son, he's one of you. Can I take a picture? Absolutely not. We treated her really rudely. And she probably thought, why are these people being so rude? Because she has no self-awareness. But like,
you're like, your son's rude too.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
We're not, like, we're not here to like make you feel better about things. We're just like, this is the one day a year we get to like walk around with our fucking shit out.
Not the pirates on the Disney ride that are just like spinning around for you to take pictures of and enjoy. Like,
this isn't fucking Disney World, so yes, I am gonna be topless.
we're people, and I feel like that's the catch, is that like you have to understand that you are around people, and the reason people feel safe amongst like-minded people in their communities is because they feel like they're not being judged or watched or they're not exhibitions. I'm not here for you to go home and feel better about like the thing that you did today.
Right.
Like, well, I can check off my box for being an ally. I'm not here for that. And when you make that space about you being an ally, about you being here, about you being in the space and how much fun it is for you, you're just taking away from that space being safe for other people.
Well, and it's not just that, but it's also people from outside the community and sometimes within it who are coming in and telling people how it should be. Oh, we need to make this event more child friendly, because if it's not completely child friendly, then it's wrong. And it's like, okay, so now you're going to tell us how to dress. Like, and also, no, not everything needs to be child friendly. Just don't bring your fucking baby to a pride parade. Like,
people brought their babies to the
child.
protests and stuff, and then we got gassed, and it was like, holy shit, this is well, we thought we were marching. It ended up being like a battle with the police, and people were running with their babies, and like, then an actual child got maced.
I think that they thought that if they had their children with them, that the police would mace them.
Or if they bring their child to Pride, someone's going to put their dick away.
Were they white babies?
Of course they were. Yeah. No black person's like, come on, baby, the police is trustworthy.
Let me bring my black baby down to this police brutality.
No. No one trusts the police with their black baby. You shouldn't. You shouldn't trust the police.
That baby's got a gun.
Like the thing that like so I think for protests, I think the danger is there for your child, and as a parent, I feel like you have to make that choice yourself. But as a person who has no children, I would 100% want to bring my kids to this, because it's like, look, you got to see what these cops are about.
Right.
But I think I would have that conversation anyway. That's another thing that most black people I have found out, like, they all have this conversation.
So your kid is gonna, Daddy, what's space?
Not even that.
It's what's gonna hit you in the face in about 3 minutes. Just watch.
But I feel like it's a good opportunity, I feel, for them to experience what the cops are. So the cops are the people who show up when you get robbed and are like, oh, let me take down notes. When you feel like they are, somewhat a force that makes some people feel safe, but they are also somewhat, but they are also, basically a military force that is roaming the streets, and they act like the military. And once you become an adversary,
they act worse than the military.
Yeah, military. Well,
they act like the military when they're on shore leave.
I was gonna say they act like the military because the military commits crimes all the time.
That's true.
War crimes aren't new.
Do they act like cops in movies or TV? Like they're just
no cops in movies and TV, like Law and Order. First of all, Law and Order defunded their police department. They did.
Are you serious?
They did.
What's the show about then?
No, they still have they defunded it in a different way, but
oh, okay.
And it's not like ideal, but like Law and Order cops are like the idea of cops. Like Law and Order cops are like there was the one episode where it was like an Ice-T was like, actually it's pronounced sex worker, and I'm like, what? This is crazy. And they're like properly gendering trans people, like that they've apprehended. I'm like, that never happens. But like Law and Order is like, they're like the imaginary police of like what we imagine police could be like, they had an episode recently where somebody called Olivia racist. Nice. It was great.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Somebody was like, well, I think that you need to interrogate your own feelings.
Why don't you check your privilege? Like, what?
Yeah.
Is this Law and Order?
It was Law and Order, but Law and Order cops are like, I love Law and Order because Law and Order is like, I mean, they're definitely not going by procedure and they're breaking a lot of laws as well. But in general, like, we want police officers who are like concerned about the victims. And in the last 2 years, like Law and Order has been very good about like, for example, sex workers. Like they treat them with respect in a lot of the newer episodes. And that's honestly fucking unheard of for I mean, you can't find that in comedy a lot of the time.
I was gonna say just respect from the cops in general is unheard of.
But like that's because those aren't real cops. Like I've had to tell this to people. I'm like, you realize that Law and Order is not a real show. That's not how cops really behave.
Like when they got defunded, it was their makeup department.
I do wish that there was an episode of like a for real like the cop like there was an episode of Cops, like some show where the cops like straight up and down get abolished in the first season, and then the rest of the season it's just the cops sitting at home like trying to figure out new lives, like talking to their families like, I used to be a cop and now I just watch TV. Like I would love just him with honey buns like I don't even know what I can do if I can't shoot people. Like who am I anymore? I would love that. I would enjoy the shit out of that, actually.
I drive a bus.
Right?
Bus cop.
Bus cop.
I drive a bus now. This is the most orderly bus.
Sit down, shut up, or you're arrested.
I would enjoy that so much, mainly because that's the only way I'm ever going to see a police department get abolished. But I would, oh my God, someone make that. Wow, it would be amazing for me. It would only get one season, obviously.
Sure.
But that one season would be glorious.
I'm going to start a show. Bus cop. You missed your stop, but you're arrested. All aboard.
I don't think I want to be on that bus. These rules are very suspect.
You're never getting off this bus.
I miss stops all the time. I would.
Yeah, I think it's like, I was trying to ask my stepmom one time. I was just like, have you ever been helped by the police? And she couldn't think of a time. She was like, well, yeah, but like your uncle is a cop. And I'm like, yeah, but like, has him being a cop ever helped you? I wasn't asking you if somebody in our family was a cop. I was asking you if a cop has ever helped you. And then my dad chimed in, and he's thanks to my little sister, he's learned some things. And so he's like, well, when he had a bunch of shit stolen out of his garage. He's a hoarder, so it was actually a blessing in disguise. But
Okay.
they stole a lot of shit, and he got a settlement from the insurance company. But he said, this detective, it was like he couldn't do anything it took to hunt down the person who took all my shit. And then he goes, I recognize that it's because I am a white man who is upper middle class. And I'm like, yeah.
Way to go, Daddy-O.
Way to go.
I feel like we all want that person though. Like, to your point, we all want like that dude who's like, don't worry, I'm gonna get
right
your newspapers
yeah, but he was
back.
like this
Whatever
guy,
got stolen.
this guy was like really into your newspaper.
I'm gonna get your newspapers from the 2000s back.
Actually,
don't
fun
worry.
aside, when I was a kid, I was trying to transition from like saying daddy to dad, and I couldn't figure out how to do it because when you're a kid you call your parents like mommy and daddy, but then you get older and you're like, I sound like a baby, and I'm not a baby, I'm a big boy. So my phrase that I tried out was I tried calling my dad Daddy-O.
Oh no.
For just a few weeks.
Oh, weeks.
And that felt worse than just calling him dad.
I did Pop for a little bit.
Pop.
I was like, what's up, Pop? I did that for a little bit, but he hated it.
Oh.
So it was like, what's up, Pop? And he'd be like, we had a very contentious relationship to begin with, but he hated being called Pop. So it lasted for months for me because I knew he hated it. But yeah, Pop was that was my transition where it's like, what's up, Pop? It's a good transition word if anyone's trying to look for one.
I just decided I was going to go the jazz route. I was like,
I like that you're just like daddy. Like, it's the 60s. Everything's cool.
Did you do your chores? Nah, but it's okay, right, Daddy-O?
Finger gun.
Just do a little solo on my way out with the what's that called? Not a stethoscope.
Saxophone. I like that you called stethoscope.
This is the wrong word.
Just listen to hearts. Daddy-O,
Right?
just listen to hearts.
I mean, really, if we're talking about it, isn't the beat just the music of the heart?
Oh my God, you're right. Every time.
All right. Well,
yeah, I was wondering when this ends.
yeah, I was gonna end it before I used the restroom, but I was like, no, we can't.
That's fine.
We're on fire.
Yeah, especially you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did any of y'all want to say anything more, or we just I can play my outro music? And...
The time I bombed.
Oh yeah. When was the time you bombed?
Because everyone else told their times.
Yeah.
I went to a comedy competition in Spokane. There were roughly 1,500 to 2,000 people there. I made it through the first round, murdered the first round, was super excited for the second round. And then the thing that happened was, so they changed up the order that people were going to be going in, and I was first.
Okay.
But I was first after intermission, and then they came back from intermission, and no one was in their seats, and I had to get up and go. And so I went from like this crowd of like 1,500 to this crowd of like 50, and
Whoa,
they
50.
were not having they didn't care about my jokes. And like I didn't have enough confidence at the time because it was like I might have been in like my first year, maybe a year and a half in. So I didn't have enough confidence in my jokes at the time. Just like, fuck it. You 50, you're getting the best show ever. I was just like, what about this thing, huh? And I ate it. And I lost the competition. I had to drive to Spokane and then drive back from Spokane, which, by the way, I don't know if you know how much I like
4
driving.
hours.
Yeah. No, I did it in 3 because I was going like 90 all the way
Nice.
Isn't it like a 9-hour drive?
there. Huh?
Isn't it like a 9-hour
Yeah, I thought it
drive?
was 7.
It's 4 hours.
What, Spokane?
Yeah.
No, it's like 3.5, 3 hours.
Jeez.
I was
My
going
sense of time
90
is
to 100
terrible.
the entire way there. It was like when I just got my Mini Cooper too, so I was like,
It's so
flying.
funny to see you get in and out of
It's a lot
that.
of fun.
It's like an optical illusion.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that much person getting out of that car?
It's so crazy.
It's like if somebody opened an envelope and like just like a whole cat came out. Like
That's what I'm looking. It's just me out of an envelope. It's just me gangling out like, I've been in the mail for days. But yeah, that was my worst bomb. Well, maybe not my worst, but it's the one that just like I still really never got over it, because here's the thing. That set wasn't bad. It was a really good set. It's just there was no one there, and the people are like wandering back in with beer, hearing me just like eat it.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at the judges, who all, of course, are back in their seats enjoying me like fucking bomb. And the dude I ended up losing to didn't even do anything. He just got on stage with more people, and he beat me. And I remember being just like, that was actually probably one of the. No, I've lost every comedy competition I've been in, so let me go ahead and throw that out there. But that was like one of the last comedy competitions I think I did where I was like, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. I'm not doing any more competitions. I fucking hate all of this. And then I didn't do another one until like the pandemic hit, and I just wanted like something to do. And that's the next time I did one. Lost that one as well. Fuck that. Fuck competitions. I hate them all. But yeah, that was my worst bomb. It was. I still am clearly pretty bitter about it.
You're okay.
I'm never gonna get over it. I'm just gonna fuel me to whatever mediocrity I hit. It'll be like, it's because I didn't win that one competition. Later, when I sell out that 10-person room, they'll be like, that's what did it.
Nice.
The 10-person room.
That's my goal. 10-person room.
Bespoke comedy.
At 10-person room, I am really just making jokes for each person in the room at that point, right? I'm just like, I know you, so here's what you like. I would love to actually to do that. Just 10 people, give me
That's
personality
every
profiles.
Open mic.
Solid point. Or just every Zoom mic I've done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those were fun.
I'm still doing them.
Sarcasm.
I'm still doing Zoom mics.
Really?
Yeah,
I just wish that people would stop talking about Zoom mics while they're on stage.
Is that happening?
Yes.
Why?
You're like, well, the other day I was on a Zoom mic. No.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, I mean, I think that's gonna happen though, because like people are transitioning, right? So like, if you've been writing this entire time, like I have stuff that is very Zoom specific that I guess now that I'm back on stage, I get to like flip it out and like.
We don't want to hear
away.
about your process.
But
We just want the jokes.
But I'm saying people need to like, as people like start kind of rewriting stuff, you're gonna get a couple of Zoom.
Oh, this worked on Zoom.
Hopefully, no one's doing that.
You could do a character of like a Zoom comedian.
I won't.
Okay. Well, you just did. You just did. So.
Yeah, but I'm not on stage, Robbie.
No, Zoom comedy, I don't think is gonna go away anytime soon.
I think it's
Really?
great. It's accessible,
Yeah.
which is nice because there's lots of people in lots of areas that don't have. Actually, the place that I'm going to be going, Denton, Texas, has no comedy scene at all. So I get to build it from scratch. Ha ha ha.
Oh my God.
It's going to be great.
It's
Good
gonna
luck.
be like codes of conduct and like inclusivity, and people are gonna be like, cool.
Yeah.
You can you can shape comedy into what you want it to be.
Yeah.
It's like playing God.
Yeah.
You'll
It's
be
exactly
God.
what I need.
I hope you're not a merciful God. That's all I got to say.
Vindictive
is what I
If anyone
want.
knows me, I don't give second chances.
V is for vindictive is what I want. I want to hear this outro. I'm excited for it. I was promised music.
I was promised music as well.
This is the song my grandpa was listening to when he died.
I'm gonna say honestly, not as much of a banger as the opening.